What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly Sports History for March 31st, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Happy Easter to everyone out there that celebrates. It's a Sunday. The sun is shining. I think we're going into a couple days here of rain, but you'll have this. As always, let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day. Yesterday, I asked you, should the Phillies be flying the wild card banner out in the outfield? And unanimously, everyone said no. So again, I can see, like I said, I can see both points, but you guys have spoken. Nobody really gave a rationale for it, but I'm assuming it's more because it's like a participation trophy almost. But as always, thank you for participating in the question of the day. 267-495-8531. Get you in on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Be sure to hit me up on social media, Twitter, TikTok, Jimbo_Mont. The YouTube channel, like and subscribe there. Same handle, Jimbo_Mont. Instagram, @PhillyJimbo. I am on Facebook as well. Tell your friends. Let's help spread the word about the podcast. All right, today is the last day of March, which means it's our last day for the Women's History Month Spotlight. Tomorrow, we will focus on some unfinished business, teams or eras of teams who just could not get the job done, or as I like to say, they left some meat on the bone. So we'll do that throughout the month of April. Special April 3rd through April 22nd, we're going to be looking at my top 20 moments at Citizens Bank Park in honor of the 20th anniversary. So stay tuned for that. Again, like, subscribe, tell your friends, and we will all have some fun together. Let's grow this thing. We're slowly... It's getting there. It's been a process, but I thank you guys all for that. Tomorrow also will be Accountability Monday. It is the first of the month, so we'll check in to see how my weight loss program has been going since January 1st, so stay tuned for that. And again, I do that only because I know some people were in the same boat as me, so at least that way we're holding each other accountable and trying to get to where we want to go and achieve those goals. All right, Phillies, it's not time to panic yet. But at the same time, I'm not going to sit here and tell you, relax, take a deep breath, because there's a lot of concerning things to be concerned about. And one thing I saw on Twitter, somebody said they seem like they're stuck in spring training, which is the truth. Nobody's really playing all that well. Stott had a couple hits. Obviously, Wheeler was lights out the other day. But Nola just was not good, and I feel like nothing went right, and that's always been sort of an Achilles heel of him, of what he does early in games, and it just seemed like I feel like with Nola, when things go bad for him, and yesterday was a perfect example of that, and not to take anything away from the Braves. They're a damn good team, and they really came in fired up for this series, it seems like. But I'm not going to tell you to relax. I am going to tell you, though, it's only 2 games into 162, so there are plenty of time. There's plenty of games left, plenty of time for them to get everything right. It's just not necessarily the start we were hoping for. I guess the saving grace here is Rangers on the mound today, and if you listen to the Phillies preview, you know I'm very high on Ranger this year. After that outing by Wheeler, I might have to tone that back a little bit of him being the best pitcher for the Phillies this year. But when you need something big, Ranger's going to come out today, and I have a feeling he's going to right the ship, get our first game of the season, and then we can kind of move on and take care of business at hand. But yesterday was just one of those days. Nothing went right. The fact that they were able, if they could have shut them down after getting that 3-2 lead, it may have been different, but it just was once he gets down, and that's the one knock I will say. I know there's some people who felt very strongly, why do we sign Aaron Nola? Blah, blah, blah. But I do agree with the signing. I feel like when he gets down early, it just snowballs out of control for him. And yesterday was just the perfect example, I feel, of his career. So we're back at it. It's a long season. I'm not going to tell you to relax because I'm pissed off. I'm a little concerned. I don't know if we have anything to be concerned about. We're 2 games in. talk to me in 2 weeks, maybe we're like, okay, we have some issues here. And I do want to say John Kruk is in midseason form. He's one of the best. He's just hilarious. So I figured I'd point that out. He is in midseason form, 2 games in, and you got to love that. I know it doesn't look good now, but the World Series is still the goal this year. They want their effing trophy back, and Philly Goat's got you covered for that. Go check out the We Want Our Effing Trophy Back, the Whiz Wit shirt, the Believe, because at this point, that's all we got right now is hope and the ability to believe. We could be in worse shape, though. But go get your Phillies gear at phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. That's phillygoat.com. Promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off your order. Check out their selection. They have you covered. My shoes are in transit. I'm not sure where. They're in Jersey right now. So as soon as I get them, I cannot wait, and I'll be sure to show them and give you an honest review of them. But I'm looking forward to them coming. Flyers, whew, what a bad loss. 5-1 to the Blackhawks, a team that is out of the playoffs. Not good. 4th in a row for the Flyers, and they were booed. And rightfully so, they were booed at the Wells Fargo Center. And they dropped their 4th in a row, and with 7 games left, they're now they're tied with Washington for 3rd place in the Metro Division, but it does look like, based on the tiebreaker, Washington gets it. So the Flyers are the second wild card. They're only 2 games up now on the Red Wings. They need some points, and they need them fast. And it's a 7-game sprint now. They have the Islanders tomorrow, and it's going to be, I believe they finish up with the Capitals too. So it is going to be a little dicey, and it's not a guarantee. It looked like a couple weeks ago it was a guarantee the Flyers are going to make the playoffs. It's not looking so good now, but they're back at it tomorrow. But just a bad loss, just a horrible, horrible loss. But you got to have a short memory and move on and get ready for the Islanders tomorrow. Sixers are up in Toronto tonight. They finish up that road trip, and then we hopefully get some good news tomorrow on Joe. Tuesday, I believe, is the 8-week mark from his surgery. So fingers crossed that not only do we get a win against Toronto, this is a game the Sixers can win. They have to win. But then we get the good news on Joe moving forward. Be sure to check out my boys over at the Clashing Conferences podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. They do a good job over there, NFL, NBA related. They're looking to expand, so if you have any interest and have a group of friends who want to start a podcast, go check them out. The Clashing Conferences, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. Good win for the Union, 2-0 over Minnesota United yesterday. They seem like after a tough, brutal stretch to start the season, they kind of have things under control and getting back to where they're going to go. They made some tweaks, so hopefully this is a start of a nice little winning run for them. I forget the kid's name, but there's a 14-year-old who's like a phenom that is being, I guess, signed with Manchester United, but is going to stay in Philly. I just saw this morning for a little bit, which is, I'm not sure how I feel about that because I don't understand the soccer rules for international and loaning players or whatever, but we have this kid who's 14 and is a phenom, but obviously he wants to go over and play in Europe, so that's, I think, the big key. As much as America tries to grow soccer, the big leagues and the big money is over in Europe, so I thought I would mention that. Not really any Eagles news, but I need them to sign Smitty. I'm going to say it every day until it happens. Howie, get the deal done. All right, sticking with the Phillies theme today, we are going to go back to 1998. And on this day, March 30th, 1998, the Phillies opened the season in New York to play the Mets and worked a little bit of overtime. The Mets ultimately won the game 1-0 in 14 innings. Second baseman for the Phillies, Mark Lewis, went 2 for 5 with a walk. Exactly. You're thinking the same thing I did. I do not remember Mark Lewis at all. Bobby Abreu went 2 for 6. Desi Relaford, the name from the past, went 2 for 6. The Mets ultimately won it when pinch hitter Alberto Castillo knocked in Brian McRae with 2 outs in the bottom of the 14th off of reliever Ricky Bottalico. And Terry Francona was the manager and was criticized after the game for leaving Ricky Bo in. It was his 3rd inning. And I cannot believe I'm going to do this. I'm actually going to stand up for Terry Francona on this one because he was pitching well. He had 2 outs, and he was scheduled to lead off the top of the 15th, and it's opening day. It was a little bit of a different game back then, but you're trying to make sure you get your you want to maximize, and you got to play for tomorrow too. So with your reliever leading off the game or leading off the next inning, I think it was the right call. Not something we need to worry about with the DH in both leagues. Now, unfortunately, it wasted Curt Schilling's gem. He went 8 innings, gave up 2 hits and 9 strikeouts. This would ultimately be his last. I'm pretty sure this was his last season. I think this is the year that they traded him to Arizona. But I will double check on that and obviously give you the correct answer tomorrow because I like to make sure my facts are straight. But I think 98 was the year. But I might be making that up too. But I'll let you know. This game was the NL's longest scoreless opening day game. Went 13 and 2/3 innings, or I guess it would be 2/3, scoreless. And it was the first March baseball game ever played in the state of New York. Regular season, I should say. Now, if you're keeping score at home, and I know I like to do this, and I've gotten some positive feedback on this, the longest scoreless game on opening day also involved the Philadelphia team, and that was the A's losing to the Washington Senators 1-0 in 1926. That game went 15 innings. The longest opening day game ever was the Blue Jays beating Cleveland in Cleveland in 2000, and I can't believe I didn't write that down. I believe it was 2012 they beat them in 16 innings, but that is the longest opening day game ever, 16 innings. But the longest scoreless game involved the Philly team, and the longest National League scoreless game involved the Phillies, and that happened on this day in 1998. That 1998 Phillies team I can't say they were brutal. It was probably they were 75-87, a slight improvement. They were in 3rd place, but they finished 31 games behind the Braves. It just was the beginning of the end. Things kind of really fell off there for a while under Francona. And then Larry Bowa took over and kind of righted the ship and really lit a fire under those guys. But we were still about, at this point, 10 years from winning a World Series. Those guys were all still down in the minors and getting their things. But on this day, back in 1998, the Mets beat the Phillies 1-0 in 14 innings in the National League's longest scoreless opening day game when Alberto Castillo knocked in Brian McRae in the bottom of the 14th. All right, I mentioned this earlier, but today is our last day of our Women's History Month Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed it. We learned a lot about I love getting the people's names out there that you may not have heard of, and this one is probably going to be no different. Today's This Day in Philly Sports History Women's History Month Spotlight is Ellie Daniel. She is an Abington High School graduate and an excellent multiple-time Olympic medalist in swimming. She was a 7-time national champion in the butterfly. And this was interesting. She didn't start off with the butterfly, but then when she figured out she was double jointed in her back and her shoulders, the butterfly became a natural stroke for her, and she just excelled. So it was interesting. She went from just like an average run-of-the-mill swimmer to being one of the best butterfly stroke swimmers out there. She won the gold medal in the Pan American Games in the 100-meter and the 4x100. She was a 4-time Olympic medalist, 1 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze. She was a former world record holder in the 200-meter butterfly. She has set or held 14 American records in swimming. She swam then after kind of her amateur career was over. She went to college and swam at Penn and was a standout swimmer there as well. She then served on the United States Olympic Committee. She's in the International Swimming Hall of Fame as an honor swimmer, the University of Penn Athletic Hall of Fame, the Abington High School Hall of Fame, as well as the Phillies Sports Hall of Fame. Ellie Daniel, former world record holder, Olympic gold medalist, a silver medalist, 2 bronze medalists, a gold medalist at the Pan American Games 2 times over, national champion 7 times, and just an absolute stud when it came to the world of swimming. So Ellie Daniel, an Abington native, basically my neighbor, is this day in Philly sports history, Women's History Month Spotlight, and our final one. And again, I hope you enjoyed it. I love going through and getting the names of these people out there, and teaching you guys stuff and hearing things that maybe names you might not have known. But today, it's Ellie Daniel, Abington High School's best swimmer. I think it's able to say that confidently. She's the best swimmer to ever come out of Abington. On this day back in 1998, the Mets beat the Phillies 1-0 in 14 innings to open up the season. Howie signed Smitty. Now, today's question of the day, going back to the Flyers. Are they in trouble? They have 7 games left, and they are clinging by 2 points to the final wild card spot. 267-495-8531 gets you through on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Are the Flyers in trouble? Yes, no. Does it even matter at this point? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. The Phillies. Let me know what you're thinking today. 267-495-8531. Get you in on the voice and text line. Enjoy this sunny day. If you're going out with family, enjoy. Happy Easter again to everyone who celebrates. Stay tuned tomorrow as we get into Philly sports unfinished business. And then on the horizon, we have the 20 best moments in Citizens Bank Park history. But again, go out and enjoy it. Be sure to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. If you're sitting around the table today and you listen to this, mention it to your uncle or Granny. Sometimes Granny likes to listen too. So we welcome all here. But this has been This Day in Philly Sports History. I'm Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Sunday. Go Phils. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.